Let's talk about Lydian a little bit and how scales define chords. So I've been working on a lot of repertoire lately. One of the tunes that I've that's in my repertoire is Just Friends. And that's the way it starts. And that C chord is actually the 4 chord in the key of G. We end up in the key of G before long. All right. So we're starting on the 4 chord. Another tune that comes to mind is Stardust. So there we start with the 4 chord, and it shortly ends up in the key of C. Okay. So how do we define the 4 chord when it's presented that way so quickly? In each of these cases, it's presented right off the top of the tune. We're starting on a 4 chord. We're not starting on a 1 chord. So you have to therefore assume, like in the case of there's my C major, you have to assume that you're in the key of G. And if you are in the key of G, then you're going to play that 4 chord with the G major scale. Now, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's a G major scale in the 2nd position. Okay. G. If I go to the 4 chord, which is C, right, and play the same scale, but now I'll play it from C, there's my raised 4. The F sharp will be a raised 4, augmented 4 against the C, and this is all completely diatonic. In other words, I'm not making any alterations. I'm not doing anything strange here. I'm just playing the scale from which the chord is derived, right? So C major scale is going to be derived from, in this case, a G major scale starting on the 4th degree. There's my arpeggio, right? But here is... there is that there's that augmented 4. Now, and I'm just talking about Lydian today. So this is going to apply to every single key that you play in. That when you're playing the 4 chord, you're automatically going to be playing. You know, if you're just playing the G major scale, for instance, in the key of G, and you go to the 4 chord and you continue to play the G major scale because the 4 chord came out of the G major scale, you're in fact going to be playing Lydian over that 4 chord. Well, let's move beyond that. That means that if I play a C major chord, I can define that chord with a Lydian mode. Now, if I want to practice a C major scale using Lydian, it sounds great. A fellow named George Russell wrote a book called The Lydian Chromatic Concept, and he pointed out that augmented 4 really is like another leading tone to the very strong 5th, right? Like the leading tone that we have leading to the root, right? And so there's nothing strange about it. And it would be a good idea to start thinking about not only Ionian mode, right, when you're playing, a C chord. Think of that raised fourth degree, the augmented 4, which can also be called a sharp 11, which you'll probably see in charts. But this is not, it doesn't really have to be an alteration. It happens naturally through the expression of a single scale and its harmonization throughout the key. Right now we're just talking about the 4. But the same thing is going to apply to each of the chords in whatever key we're in. Okay, Lydian, if you want to practice this, a practical method of playing it is just work your way up and down the fretboard using Lydian to define, whatever chord. You can do the same thing with G, right? If we do the raised 4, right? You can do it with any major chord sound. So don't think of it as a lowered 5th. Don't think of it as a flat 5. Think of it as an augmented 4 because it wants to lead to the 5th in the chord.